We know that the Chicago Bulls and Josh Giddey seem like they are very, very far apart when it comes to the contract negotiations that both sides are currently partaking in. On one side, the Chicago Bulls feel like they hold the leverage, and on the other side, Josh Giddey believes he has some leverage for himself. So, on today's episode, instead of talking about who has the leverage or who has the width, or whatever you want to call it, we are going to talk about how the Chicago Bulls and Josh Giddey can bridge the gap and come closer together to see how they can get a deal done. Y'all know we going to talk about it all, break it down, but you got to hear the music first. Cognac gang. Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on another daily episode. So if y'all tuned in, locked in, and love talking Bulls basketball, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And shout out to our supporters out there, man. The support over this offseason has been tremendous, and we really, really appreciate it over here on Shy Boys Podcast. But we know that throughout this entire offseason, we heard a number of things regarding the Chicago Bulls and Josh Giddey when it comes to this contract negotiation. There was a belief at the beginning of last season that Josh Giddey is seeking $30 million. The Chicago Bulls said, no, we ain't doing it. Now that we have entered the offseason, Josh Giddey and his representation have been standing on the same hill saying, we want $30 million. And the Chicago Bulls are looking at Josh Giddey right in the face and saying, we ain't giving you 30. So how do the Chicago Bulls and Josh Giddey be able to close that gap? It's a big, big thing that both sides have to come to terms on. We know that within the next few weeks in entering into August, that this is going to be a discussion that both sides are going to have to sit down and really, really discuss, because we just recently went over all the NBA executives, about 16 of them coming in, giving their opinions on the prediction of Josh Giddey's contract. None of them pretty much gave Josh Giddey the leeway to say, we'll give him 30 million. Most of those NBA executives that were polled by the Athletic pretty much said that Josh Giddey is worth between 22 and 25 million. We've heard things from guys that represent Chicago when it comes to covering teams like the Chicago Bulls, and Joe Cowley say that the Chicago Bulls and Josh Giddey are about 8 to 10 million. We've heard guys like KC Johnson come out and pretty much say that, hey, right now the Chicago Bulls hold all the leverage. And I will say, hey, it could very well be true. But I will also throw in there, it is not Josh Giddey's fault that the Chicago Bulls made a mistake by giving Patrick Williams $18 million to try to encourage him to become a better basketball player. But then on the opposite side, we look at the Chicago Bulls looking at Josh Giddey, and they can very well look at Josh Giddey and say, hey, we're the Chicago Bulls. We're not the Toronto Raptors who gave Emmanuel Quickly $30 million. We're not the Orlando Magic who gave Jalen Suggs $30 million. It's not our fault. This is where we stand. This is our number, and this is how we feel like we should proceed. It can go either way in this discussion when you're talking about the Bulls and Josh Giddey, but I will say these are what negotiations are made for. If anybody in here has ever negotiated their contract at their place of employment, you know that when you talk to the hiring manager say that we have a budget between, let's just say, 60,000 a year to 80,000 a year. You come in with your experience, you say I want 80,000 a year. the company is going to come back and most likely counter and say, we don't want to give you 80, we'll offer you 70,000 a year. And then you counter that 70,000 a year and say, I have this experience, I have these qualifications, I have this going on, I can provide this for the company. Give me 75,000 with some type of package that eventually gets you up to that 80,000 that you are seeking. Those type of things happen all the time. I know it's a little bit different when you talk about place of employment, when you talk about sports. It's obviously different because there is much, much more money involved, but we cannot act like the thing is pretty much still the same when it comes to negotiations, and you can't get your feelings involved in it. Otherwise you're gonna get your feelings hurt, because I do understand on the side of Josh Giddey, he can very well say, I'm gonna play on this qualifying offer, and at the end, once I'm done with that qualifying offer, if a team rolls around and they offering me more money than what you have offered me in the past, and you kind of did me dirty. He can very well feel like that. But if you did me dirty, I'm walking up out of Chicago, and you just traded me for Alex Caruso for absolutely nothing. But then on the other side of the Chicago Bulls, they could play hardball and say, all right, bet, go play on the qualifying offer. But if you get hurt, that $22 million that we was offering you now goes down to 17, 18. And if you don't play up to the level that we believe you can play up into, you damn sure ain't getting the 25. And if you don't play up and average that damn near triple double that you put up in those 25 games to end the season, you best believe we ain't giving you 30 mil. It can go either way in these negotiations. And I think it's really, really risky if Josh Giddey is sitting there saying that, to hell with y'all, I'm going to play on a qualifying offer. So that's why I'm bringing this episode here today, to see if there is a possible solution on how the Chicago Bulls and Josh Giddey can close the gap, bridge the gap, so we can come in and we can have basketball for the foreseeable future as a partnership. And then some way, somehow, Josh Giddey can still recoup that money on year's end down the road. So my solution is, number one, do the Chicago Bulls cave in? I got a couple solutions. Do we go with, do the Chicago Bulls cave in to Josh Giddey's demand? That's something that the front office is going to have to decide. Now, when you talk about caving into $30 million, you got to think about that Kobe White, no matter what you offer him this offseason, you can't offer him much. You can only go upwards of 140%, which is like a 4-year, $89 million deal, which is not good enough for a guy like Kobe White. So caving into Josh Giddey, giving him the 30 mil, not necessarily know how far up the salary cap will go, and leaving money that you're not going to be able to give a guy like Kobe White if you see him as being part of the future moving forward. Yeah, it's a tough decision for the Chicago Bulls if you cave in. And then Josh Giddey, you have to play at another level if you start losing players off your team. But the counter to Josh Giddey could potentially be, hey, I got Montrezl Buzelis, I'm going to set him up, and I know that he's potentially the face of the franchise. So there's a little bit of pushback with that. But solution number two is coming in and Josh Giddey and the Chicago Bulls saying, hey, let's go ahead and do a 3-year deal. The third year is a player option or a team option. We figure out how that third year works out, and then we kind of go from there. These 2 years, we're going to give you a pay increase. And then on that third year, whether we make the decision or you make the decision, we'll be able to come back to the negotiation table to where not only did you have an increase over the last 2 years compared to what you could have been making on that qualifying offer, but now you have another opportunity in a shorter span to get more money, more guaranteed money, and now kind of recoup some of those dollars that we kind of left on the table back in 2025. I think that's a more feasible solution to where you go to Josh Giddey and Josh Giddey looks at the Chicago Bulls and saying, give me a 3 or 4 year deal. And on that last year or in year 3, we kind of, shake hands and agree on, hey, it's either a team option or it's going to be a player option to where we look at each other in the face and say, hey, I've outplayed this 22 $25 million contract. And now the market is saying this. I've gained, let's say he gained anything. He gained some type of all-star appearance. He has put up or averaged close to a triple-double for an entire season. Now you get to go back to the negotiation table and say, hey, now I want more money. Another solution will possibly be, hey, we gonna go ahead and slot you in at $22 million a year, slot you in at 25 a year. If you make an all-star appearance while you're in a Chicago Bulls uniform on this contract, we'll give you X million dollars. We'll give you an additional X amount of money for becoming an all NBA player. We'll give you this if you match up to this and hit these benchmarks. An incentive-based deal that makes sense if Josh Giddey is living up to the expectations. And one thing that I want to make clear for everybody that's listening, there is no reason to sit up there and get emotional in negotiations when the Chicago Bulls have this right, when Josh Giddey has this right, and when this is simply business. If you get emotional in business, you can eventually get your ass kicked in the backside and you can end up missing out on a lot of opportunities that we somehow forget about Dennis Schroeder a few years ago, to where the Los Angeles Lakers offered him at that point what was considered damn near a max contract, and he said no, and he eventually dropped the ball to where he ain't recouping much of that money again. My thing is two things can be true. Two things can be true, but let's not get emotional about it. Take your feelings out of it and think about negotiations from a composed and even keeled plane. Two things can be true. Number one, Josh Giddey can very well say, I'm going to play on this qualifying offer and I don't give a damn what happened. Number two, the Chicago Bulls can say, play on a qualifying offer. But if you don't live up to expectations, if you want to have a long-term contract, it ain't going to be close to what we are offering you right now. So you have to think about all these things that is going into this negotiations. Both sides have their points. Both sides have some reasoning behind them. Regardless if you feel that Josh Giddey is worth the 30, regardless if you feel that the Chicago Bulls should give Josh Giddey 20. Both things can be true because there's validity on both sides. My standard to players is, how good are you when we come up to negotiations? How good were you for their entire season? How good were you for the tenure that you were here for the Chicago Bulls? We look at Patrick Williams and we say, this motherfucker was terrible in year last year for sure, the last year prior to that. And how do you get $18 million? Something Josh Giddey could be looking at, but at the end of the day, that's not what's taking place right now. The Chicago Bulls are to be learning from their mistakes. And when we self-evaluate Josh Giddey, let's keep it real when we talk about him. Keep it real. Josh Giddey had a bad start to the season last year. It was rough. Then he started to come on. Then Zach LaVine was going. Then he started to turn around. And then we seen what we could potentially have in Josh Giddey. but it was not a consistent season for Josh Giddey. If Josh Giddey went an entire season averaging damn near a double-double, no question, the Chicago Bulls will give him 30. It's not about what I want to give him. Take your emotions out of it and look at everything in totality. Again, two things can be true. He balled out in the second half of the season, and he was absolutely a little abysmal to start the season, which favors both sides of the negotiation. It favors both guys of the negotiation. The Bulls and Josh Giddey. Take the emotion out of it. Look at the negotiations for what they are. And the Chicago Bulls have the right to learn from their mistakes, just like Josh Giddey has the right to demand his fucking money. That's where we currently stand. But again, the solutions are there. I believe there are some solutions. Josh Giddey plays on a qualifying offer. I don't think he should do that. Josh Giddey takes a short-term deal. 3 years, 4 years, team option, player option on the back end when he has outplayed that current contract. You recoup that money. I think he should go that route. I really, really think he should go that route. You're going to make $11 million on a qualifying offer. Go ahead and get you a deal done. 3, 4 years, get you a player option on year 3, year 4, however you and your agent line it up, and then go back in for negotiations and demand the fuck out of the money. That's what it's looking like. It's looking like the Chicago Bulls are not budging, and I will hope to lose Josh. I would not want to lose Josh Giddey. And I don't think the Bulls want to lose Josh Giddey either. But we going back to the same statement. Two things could be true. We seen good glimpses, but we need more consistency. Two things can be true. That's been the consistent theme about the whole negotiation thing, regardless on what side that you're on. I even had some guy tell me you're going to be tight up the ass when Josh Giddey goes and ball out. Why would I be tight? I want to see the man. I want to see the man get paid. What the fuck is you talking about? I want to see him get paid, but I can't fault the Chicago Bulls from learning from their past mistakes and actually attending the negotiation like they should have attended the negotiation for Patrick Williams. The hell are you talking about? That's a part of the business. But hey, this is possible solutions on how to bridge that gap between the Chicago Bulls and Josh Giddey. Y'all let me know how y'all feeling about all things discussed today. And in the meantime, in between time, I'm about to get up out of here. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode. Leave your comment, thoughts, and concerns down in the comment box. Let's chop it up about today's topic. Thank y'all so much. Make sure y'all always see red, and y'all already know I'm going to catch y'all on the next one, for sure. Cognac. Gang.